Yep. Good morning, everyone. So last session we learnt about functions. In functions, what we learnt? Function parameters. How to deal with function return also. Function parameter and function return also I told you. Right. So what is difference between spread and rest? What is difference between spread and rest? Spread is related to actual parameters. It is actual parameters. So what is its nature? One parameter can spread its values to multiple arguments. Understand? Spread means one actual parameter can spread its values to multiple formal parameters. Right? So let me give it clear. Spread means one actual parameter can spread values to multiple formal parameters. Formal parameters. That is what actually spread. What is rest? Rest is one formal parameter. Formal parameter can accept multiple values as actual parameter. That is the difference. Right? That is the difference between spread and rest. And tell me why a function needs a return. Why function needs a return? Function, no technical words. I told you function without return and with return, what they are called as. So functions, we have pure and impure. What are pure functions? Pure functions, impure functions. What is difference? Why the values outside the scope can modify values outside the scope, and pure functions will not allow to modify outside the scope. They just return a value which can be used from any scope. All right. That means pure. So without return, impure. Understood? That is difference between all I explained already. So now another important learning without name. using a pattern called as pattern is called as IEFC. A pattern called IIFC. IIFE actually FE. They are used by using a pattern called IIFE. What is IIFE? Immediately invoked function expression. Invoked function expression means if a function is not having name, then how you will access it? Then what you have to do is go to parenthesis. In a parenthesis, you write the function. After writing the function in parenthesis like this, that means after you write the function, immediately invoke it. Immediately not access there. What immediately invoked. Is it audible to others online? Online people, is it audible to others, right? Is it audible to everyone? Is it clear? Is it audible to everyone? Is it clear now? Is it okay? Is it okay, everyone? Yes. Okay. Let's continue. So here the function expression. So function expression, we call it as immediately invoked function expression. Immediately invoked function expression means you can access the function immediately. So this is called IIFE pattern. So in some experience interviews, they ask, what is IIFE pattern? IIFE pattern is nothing but immediately invoke a function expression. So generally, so we write like this. Anonymous functions, we write in this way. Let's open this project. Here I am writing some script. So let's add a script. So I am adding a file, functions.html. Yeah. Here we are defining a script, and in a parenthesis you write a function. Then you don't need a name for function. I will enter some document.write. So anonymous function. Now this function will not execute. You see, when I run this, the function is empty. It is unable to execute. It is unable to execute. It is empty. Now, to execute this function, immediately after the function, we use a parenthesis. So this will invoke that function and get the result. It is going to execute it. These are anonymous functions, right? So now the question here is, what is the purpose of anonymous function? What is the purpose of anonymous function? I told you already. What is the purpose of anonymous function? I told you already when we discussed function also can be given as a parameter. When we give function as parameter, their function is anonymous. It doesn't have a name. What is the purpose of a function as parameter? What is the purpose of a function as parameter? The purpose of a function as parameter, what is the purpose? They are used for callback. I told you callback now. Callback means what? Callback means the function will execute automatically according to the situation. We return function success, failure. Out of those two, which one will execute? That depends on the situation and the state, right? So this is called anonymous function. This is example for that. Why you need anonymous functions? Actually, anonymous functions are mostly used in callbacks. In callback, while working with callbacks, we use these anonymous functions. They are mostly used in callbacks, right? That is the basic thing about anonymous functions, right? Is it clear? So what is IIFE pattern means? Immediately invoking function expression. That means it is a pattern used for accessing anonymous functions, right? Next important in the functions, we have function recursion. Function recursions. Another one is function recursion. What is a function recursion? Why we need a function recursion? Function recursion is nothing but it is the process of accessing a function within the context of same function. It is the process of accessing a function within the context of same function. That is the process, right? That means why you need this function recursion. Function recursion means calling the function within the function. For example, you are writing a function. So this function f1, and usually what happens, we call this f1 inside the function. What is the necessity of this? Why you need to call a function inside the function? What is meant by recursion? Actually, recursion is nothing but generally, recursion is the process of executing any specified task repeatedly. Recursion is the process of executing any specified task repeatedly. You have to execute the task repeatedly. So if repeatedly, so until the condition is satisfied. But for that we have loops now. So without looping. So without looping and iterations, we can execute any task repeatedly without looping and iterations. How you can do that repeatedly? That means we can call. Actually, it is used for creating batch operations. Batch operations means they they are set of operations which are performed one after another. For example, I will tell you what are these batch operations. For example, suppose I will open my computer, command prompt. In this command prompt, suppose some drive here. You see here in my E drive, I am running some commands like date. It will show me current date. I will open time. It will show me current time. I will use dir/w. It will show the files list wide side by side. It shows the files list I am having. So every day after I open my PC, I have to check date, time, and files list. So if this three works have to be done daily repeatedly, then instead of typing all these three separately, like that 10 tasks I have to do in the same order every day, every time. Then instead of writing all those, we can do one thing. We can create a batch job. How to create a batch job? See, I'll just show you here. Actually, this is command prompt. In command prompt, to create files, we have a command called copycon. Copycon and some file name. File name I will give as, suppose morning dot bat. Batch programs have extension called bat. Now in this I will type, first I want date, after that I want time, after that I want dir/w. Then close, Control Z, it will close. The file copied. That means I created a batch file. This is called batch file. Do you know what is the purpose of this batch file? Every day when I come and I type morning and hit enter, automatically it starts date, time, drw. Just what you have to do, morning, and it will get date, time, drw. So have you seen such batch jobs anywhere? You have seen, but you don't know. For example, in your project, how to install Bootstrap. npm install, what is it? Bootstrap. Do you know this is a batch program? Through npm, whatever you run, it is a batch program. How you will simply install Bootstrap? To install Bootstrap, lot of steps are there. First step, we need to connect with their server. Second step, we have to download files from the server. Third step, create a new folder called node modules. After that, copy all these downloaded files into node modules. These all steps are kept in one name. npm install Bootstrap. When you run that command, that means you are running a batch program. All those statements will execute one after another. Right? So software programmers have to create such batch programs regularly to do same task again and again for testing, for performance and all. For example, see now, I just created morning, enter date, time. In between, I want to stop. I want to stop batch program before it finish. Then Control C. If I press Control C, it will say terminate batch job. Terminate batch job, yes or no. I entered yes, it stopped. See the same here. I will run npm install what? Bootstrap, and hit enter. It starts downloading. In between, I will plus Control C. It doesn't have permission here. I will go into project. Here in the project, I will open that. And yeah, here I am running npm. I am running npm install what? Bootstrap. Npm install bootstrap, and hit enter. And while installing, I will put Control C now. Control C. It says terminate batch job. That means it is a batch job. It is a batch job. And that batch job have some set of actions. We are terminating. I say no, then it will stop. So this is batch operation. Batch operation means a sequence of actions are defined which are performed one after another. Okay, good. You understood what is a batch job, right? And why programmers have to create batch jobs? Because to execute a sequence of functions one after another. To execute a sequence of functions one after another, they have to create a batch job. Now, in this batch job, some batch jobs, they will end after first step, second step, third step, they will stop. But some batch jobs, they never end. They never end. They will continue until you manually stop. So question is how to create a job in such a way that it will never end. So for example, see, I will show you that also. Suppose in our computer, open, run. In run, I will type here ping -t 127.0.0.1. This is nothing but networking people will use this command called ping to test whether server is running or not. If any server properly running or not. That server IP address they will use. And when I run this, you see now it make a request, reply is coming. Reply is coming. And it is continuing. Reply is continuing. Now, when it will stop, it will never stop now. Until you press Control C. Understood? You press Control C, now it will stop. Otherwise, it will continue. Now the question is how to write one line and make it run for several hours, years time. You leave it like that, it will run days, years time. So how you can do that? So we will write a for loop. For I less than or equal to 100. 100 times stop. 1 lakh times, then stop. how you will make it an infinite loop? Then there is a simple technique. What is that simple technique? See what you can do here. I'm using a concept of like this. Suppose I will first show you the command prompt. In this C, I'm creating some copy con. Some I given a name called some testing dot bat. Some testing dot bat. In that I given dir/w. After that, again testing, then close. What does this means? When I run this file, first it will run this command. After running this command, it will run the file again. In that file, what is there? In that file, again dirw there. After dirw, again it will run this. Understood? That means by just writing 2 lines, you are now, I say testing and hit enter. It is continuous. Because indefinite loop, right? It is like first your file name, in that one command. After the command, again file name. The file name have command have file name. After command, file name. It will continuous. These are batch recursions. Now this is Control C, stop. Now why to create such things? Because we don't know when problem will come or when to stop. Until the condition satisfied, continue. We don't know when it will come. We are not sure. For example, we learned break and continue. When to break? After 5 minutes, break. After 10 minutes, break. Or after 10 times, break. But we don't know when break. When that particular situation comes, it should break. When that situation comes, it should break. Then how? Then we have to use a recursion, not jump statements, recursions. So how to create a recursion? You saw the recursion. Inside the file name is used, right? So that is recursion. For example, see now here. Suppose I am defining a simple heading. There is a heading. A simple paragraph I am giving. In that I am writing body function onload. Onload is body load. On body load, we have a script. Here we have a function, body load. Okay, on body load, what we are doing? First, we are creating above a function. Suppose get time is the function. What this get time function is doing? So it is having some var now is equal to new date. Right? Now what after that? So it is having document dot query selector. What is it? Paragraph. Paragraph dot inner HTML now dot to local time string. It will print the time. And I will call this get time here. Get time here. Okay, now this is what we are doing, or what we will do here. This is get time and it will return the time. It is going to return the time. Now what I am doing here, after this here I'm writing like something like again get time. Inside that I am writing again get time. That means what happens now? It is getting the time and rendering. But this should happen repeatedly now. Repeatedly. Tell me how to do. Repeatedly. Calling this again will not do that again and again, right? How to create that repeatedly? In body load, I want repeatedly. I used a timer earlier. Set interval. I told you date function. Set interval. How you call it repeatedly now? Hmm? How you can call this repeatedly? You saw how I created batch operation now? Based on that, tell me. Hmm? Inside? Which method? This one? Huh? Actually, suppose this get time, we will use return. Just simply like it should return what now dot to local time string. It is returning the time. On body load, it should get that. So document dot query selector. What is it? Paragraph inner HTML is equal to get time, because get time is returning a time. It will display, right? How we can repeatedly use it? Without set interval, we need that recursion. We are learning recursion without any timing. We have to set. Okay, I will give a simple function task. Write and show me. Right? That means, so here simple task. Write a function. So without using loops and iterations, to print numbers from 1 to 10. Try. Without using loops and iterations, print number 1 to 10, right? That means actually a function should take a number, function print numbers. It should take a number n, and that number is starting number. Suppose you passed 1 to 10. You passed 20, 20 to 30. So from there, 10 numbers it should print. Now write and show me. Without loops. No timing. No timers also. write a function for this and show me. Online people, are you trying? You have to try this. What? Not getting any idea? Use written. Use written keyword. That is one hint. Rahul Kumar, I am not talking. I am given a task. I am waiting for your answer. Uh, I am not talking. I given a question. I am waiting for your answer. Understood, Rahul Kumar? You are not responding with your answer. Where is your solution? Yes, Bhaskar Rao. Have you tested this function you written? No. Hmm? No. So who's this Asif? We should write only one function, man. What you are doing, Venkatesh? Only one function. It should use recursion. You written 10 functions for 10 numbers. Huh? Huh? One function should work for recursion. Okay, I will see here. So what many people written like this? What you are doing, suppose we have a function. The function is some number, print number. It is taking some parameter. How to print it again? How to print it again? So print number, what it is doing? Document dot write. What it is doing? N. Okay, na? So after that, what it is doing? I am showing here many people written like that. After this, what? Call print number. So, and because n is printed, n value must be increased by 1. N plus plus n equal to n plus 1. After that, print number. So the pass value of n. So until how many number of times? If n is less than or equal to 10. So print n, right? So otherwise, or simply we can write like this. I'm writing like this. Means I'm showing some people how they written their print number. After that, here we will write if n is greater than or equal to 10. What should happen? When n is greater than 10, what should happen? Break. Okay, na? So, but break is not working here. Cannot cross function. So I use some return, right? So I am calling the function. What is the function? Function is print number. What I am passing? Suppose 1. Now what is the value here? When I pass 1, it will print 1 to 10. Understood? That means it will print. After that, it will increment. After that, it will verify is it greater than or equal to 10. If it is greater than or equal to 10, stop. If not, call that print number again, pass the new number. N value is previously 1 plus 1, 2. Am I right? I passed 1. First, when I passed 1, 1 is printed. After that, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 is not greater than 10. Then it will continue to execute this function. This function, it will pass 2 now. Am I right? Then after that, 2 is printed. Then 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 is not greater than 10. Again, it will call this. Understood? Right? This is called recursion. Right? Without using the statement, you can use recursion. Means looping controls. For loops, iterations not required. By using a recursion technique, we can execute them. So Ashish and who Asif. So you have to stop when it is after reaching. So in your program, if there is no stop, it will be error. So you should keep the stop, right? This is recursion. Recursion is used for handling this kind of operations. So if I pass here value greater than or equal to how much, that you can decide. For example, starting and how many to print. And here I can use greater than or equal to how much, m. That means I given here 1, comma, suppose 15. That means what does it means? So it should start with 1 and up to 15 it should print, but it is printing so many. Why? Because it should be less than now, not greater than. Understood? It should be depending on. You can use any number of parameters, right? So depending on the value, you need to configure, right? Now, can you write the same for, I will give one more example. So write down this now. This is the programmer. You saw this program now, right? Now, here you saw this program. This is the example program for that. Okay. Now write another program. Write a program to print factorial of given number. That means I write a function factorial and into that I will pass n. It should print the factorial of number. That means if I pass factorial of 5, what it should print? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. 20, 60, 120. Now write a program and show me. Write a program. I showed the program for printing how many numbers you given. For those numbers, multiply and store in one result. Suppose I said fact of 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 into multiply also. Why you use loop? Currently, what is our topic? Currently, what is our topic, Ranjit? Currently, which topic we are learning? In the topic you write. Any one is enough. N is equal to 1, n equal to 0. Goro, right? Any one is enough. Done. So see here what you need to do. Already some people written correct here. We have function, some fact of some n. Now how many times it have to repeat? Up to 1, because 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It should not go 0 na. So what is condition? If n is when is less than 1 or equal to 0, anything. If less than 1 means 0, then what should happen? It should stop. It should return 1. It should return 1. Why it should return 1? Because you cannot multiply anything by 0 na. Understood? It should stop at 1. Return 1. So that is stop. True. Right? So here, one more point is what it should return. So this should return n into, so fact of n minus 1. Right. So document dot write, I am printing here. So fact of 5. I am writing fact of 5. Here the fact of 5, it is going to print 120. What is the condition here? First, you return fact of 5. That means when you return fact of 5, what is the n value? N is equal to 5. Is it less than 1? It is not less than 1. Then what happens? If it is not less than 1, then what happens? Fact is equal to, because you are using return, it will use its own memory. Fact is equal to 5 into fact minus 1. Fact 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 means how much? Is equal to how much? 4. Right? That means 5 into 4 is how much? 20 na? Is equal to 20. After that, this fact will work one more time. It will execute again. It will execute again. This time, what is the value? Fact of, what is it? 5 minus 1. 4 previously. And already in fact, what is present? 20 na? 20 into, again fact of, this time what? 4 minus 1. How much? 3. 23 is how much? 60. After that, it will execute again. Understood? It will execute again. Again, how much? Fact is how much? 60. 60 into, so fact of 3 minus 1 is 2. That means how much? 62 is 120. After that, it will execute one more time. Am I right? When it executes one more time, what happens? Fact is equal to 120 into what? Fact of 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is how much? 1. 120. Then it will stop. For example, here, I am just giving return. Right? So I am using fact of 7 or 6. Fact of 6. You see, not a number. Why it is not a number? It is multiplying again with 0. So it is not a number. So it should return. It should return how much? 1. So it will save 720. This is basically how we have to do, right? Whatever the value is written, because the last value should be 1. It should not go less than 1. Then it will say not a number. If you are printing, then you can use it, right? What do you mean by time complexity? Ashul Sharma. Yes. What do you mean by time complexity? Huh? Yes, Ashul Sharma. You can unmute.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Because many interviewer ask this question like, what will be time complexity and how to reduce time complexity of any program, like using loop or some condition, reducing some conditions. Suppose if we use two loops for I loop or for j, then it will be O n square, omega of n square time complexity. So, what will be time complexity
Time
in that case?
complexity you will understand when you learn about asynchronous techniques. No?
Okay.
Once you know about asynchronous. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Um,
Thank you.
right. So already we discussed some features, right? Why we need to use iterators, why we should not use loops, right? Those iterators and loops, we will see the example. How do we handle them? We will learn asynchronous technique. Then we will compare without asynchronous, synchronous methods, how they are going to execute, right? So here, the key thing you are understanding currently about function is how to create a recursion. The functionality differences you will understand in the next levels. You will see them. So this is basically how we can work with a simple example for that, right? How we can handle this. Now, recursion's purpose is to perform any specific task repeatedly until the condition is satisfied without really creating any loops, without creating any iterations, right? That is the key point. So we have two options now. What is it? One is recursion. Another one is anonymous functions. How to use recursions and anonymous. Now, another point. Still functions, we haven't finished. A lot of topics are there. By the end of the functions, you will understand all concept, right? Another important point here is arrow functions. Arrow functions. Arrow function is nothing but it is a shorthand technique of writing a function. Shorthand technique of writing a function. But arrow requires function expression. So it is good for callbacks. For callbacks, it is good. Otherwise, you need an expression. Function declaration will not be enough. Arrow functions are nothing but shorthand technique of writing a function. So you define function by using this. That means a parenthesis It defines parenthesis means function parameters, and implies this defines return and return or single statement to execute. If multiple statements, then block. This indicates multiple statements to execute. For example, we are writing a function hello. It is printing some message called document dot write hello JavaScript. Like this we are writing. Now what happens is we are defining. Here we are defining. So shorthand technique for this. Shorthand technique means we need to write an expression. Hello. In that expression, you put an empty parenthesis, implies document dot write hello. That's it. This is how we write a shorthand. This is a function, no parameters and a value. Now suppose this is one example here. Just suppose we have another example. We have a function hello. It is having a parameter, so username, and it will print document dot write. So here we have hello and username. It is printing like this. How do we write this? Where hello is equal to uname implies document dot write. So here hello uname. That's it. You don't need a parenthesis if you are passing one parameter. If you are not passing parameter, you need parenthesis. If you are passing multiple parameters, you need parenthesis. One parameter, you don't need a parenthesis, right? So suppose we have function. So hello, or say addition a comma b. And what it is going to do is return a plus b. You can write like this, where addition is equal to in the parenthesis a comma b, a plus b. That's it. That is more shorter. This indicates return. That means it will work for returning a value. It will work for executing one statement. It's simple. That means now result of a plus b will be stored in addition. That means, for example, I am writing like this. That means we are defining function instead of function, where addition is equal to a plus a comma b and a plus b. Document dot write addition into the 30 comma 20. We are passing the values. Then you can see it is going to print that and display. So this is the technique, shorthand. If there are multiple statements to execute, then you have to put a curly brace, block. If one statement to return or execute, you just simply write like this. Right? Suppose I am writing like this. So where hello is equal to uname implies I will put here hello and uname. Hello uname, like this. That means document dot write So hello, into that we pass John. Then it is going to print that hello John. That is the shorthand way of writing the functions. Thus makes it simple. Right? Now you can use everywhere, but what is problem here is you need an function expression, not declaration, because you are not using function keyword. Then it will be a function expression. Expression means I told you now, function declaration and expression. Now, for example, you can do this everywhere. Suppose I am using fetch, fetching from http://fakestore.com/ fakestoreapi.com/ dot then uses a callback function. That callback function returns response, just response, implies response.json. That's it. That means it is a function with a parameter called response, and it is returning response as JSON. Understood the point now? It is more shorthand way, right? So I am defining then. What is it? So we have to collect products. Products is an array. Now we need to do some manipulation on that array. Then we have to use a curly brace, because it has to do a lot of work. I need to read every element and print every element. In that case, what I will do? Simply, I will put a binding here. In that, what should happen? Products.map. We are reading everything. Again, map uses a callback function. It will read every product. Understood? For every product, what we have to return? For every product, we will return a paragraph. Right? So we will return a paragraph, and in the paragraph, actually, it is going to return some presentation. Right? I will just use here. You are using a string here, just document.write, because here we don't have any another element. It will write, it will print what? Some paragraph. In this paragraph, what you want to print? The product dot title. We want to print the product title. That means what this fetch is going to do? Fetch the data and display. This time we are using a simple shorthand technique everywhere. Instead of writing function parenthesis, you can just use this technique. Right? This is the shorthand way of writing the functions. So in the modern JavaScript, we prefer this way of writing. It is more minified. It will be more simplified. So this is the concept of arrow. Everywhere we will see how to use these arrow techniques. So arrows allows you to write the functions in a shorthand way. But where you can use arrows? When you are dealing with expression, function expression, or when you are dealing with callbacks. Because when you are writing arrow, it becomes anonymous without a name. Then you have to define a reference name. Right? This is very much used everywhere. This is the shorthand technique of adding. We call this as what? Function, arrow functions. Similarly, we have function closures. We have a concept called function generators, asynchronous functions. Those all we will see in next session. Right? Tomorrow we'll continue, because these all are asked in interviews. Now, all these interviews related concepts we will discuss now. What is a closure? What is a generator? And what is function related other features asked, right? Then we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll continue. Okay. Right.